So on the human level, we have such diversity. We have some people that have really strong intellect. We have some people that are really good at arts and crafts. We have some people that are really good at caring and some that are really good at mathematics. There's so many things. We have some people that look a certain way and others look a different way. There's such a huge diversity in humans. But there's a part to us that's equal. It's the same that looks out of Donald Trump's eyes, the same as looked out of Charlie Manson's eyes, the same that looks out of the beggar, out of the unknown, out of the special, the unique, the poor, the rich, Indian people, Chinese people, British people, Saudi Arabian people, American people. Our essence is the same. Our essence is equal. On the human level, we have all these games of hierarchy and power and disempowered. But on the absolute level, it's the same energy that's looking out. The same one energy that's creating out all this, that's hearing these words. That's looking at the room, that's sitting on the seat, that's experiencing this. So on the human level, quite rightly, we believe that we're a name. So on the human level, I'm Lisa, and you are your name. And Lisa has, so I have a story of Lisa, of my life, my circumstances, my particular conditioning, my particular finance, where I live, my upbringing, the colour of my skin, my age. And compared to some people, I'm super wealthy. Compared to some people, I'm super poor. Compared to some people, I'm really empowered and really active. But compared to some other people, I'm not so empowered and I'm not so active. So in the human world, we have all these stories about us, and some of them are better than other people and some of them are worse than other people. It depends who you compare yourself to, and it depends on your qualities on the human level. And this human, it sees everything in the human way. So I know that sounds weird, but as humans, we think that we think originally and by ourselves, and it's different from everyone else's, but actually we all think dependent on our conditioning and our experiences and what came before and our genetics and our current experience. And we all think in that human formation. We don't think whale, we don't think dog, we don't think alien. We think in the human way. And our thinking has different layers to it. It has thoughts that we're conscious of, on the personally conscious of, and then we have these thoughts that we're unconscious of. So we have thoughts in this moment like, oh, I like what she's saying. And then underneath, we might have unconscious thoughts where you feel attracted to me, or you dislike me, or you feel jealous of me. And we're normally unconscious of that, and normally they manifest on the conscious human level in thoughts like, she doesn't know what she's, or look at her, who does she think she is, trying to be superior, or wow, she's so amazing, she knows everything. And underneath, it might be that we're feeling a feeling of or in loveness or jealousy. So we have this conscious level and we have this unconscious level. And we don't know as humans where thoughts are. We've been told many times they're in the brain, but we're not sure. They also think that they are in the body as well. When they do organ transplants, sometimes the new receptant of the organ has memories and thoughts of the old owner of that organ. So we're not really sure. We can't actually find where it happens. Because we've been told so much it's in our brain, I think we feel like it's in our brain. We also have this emotional thing that happens where from what we think, it affects our emotional body, which we feel in the body. So if we think negatively of ourselves, then we feel negative feelings. And if we have positive thoughts, we have positive feelings. And our thoughts are dependent on what we interact with and what we've been conditioned to think. And we as humans believe that's who we are. All those things that I've described is who we are. Most people wouldn't be conscious of that. They would just say, me, I'm this separate entity inside this body, and I have choice and I have free will, and I'm living in a separate relationship with the world. And they think that this person that I described is experiencing life. Now, I'm not trying to deny the personal experience, because it does seem like we have this personal experience that's coming up in every instant. But what I'm questioning, and what non-duality questions, is who is it that's experiencing? So we think it's this person which I've described that's experiencing. But is it possible that that person is also an experience? And why this is so important is because this is a fundamental change in what's happening. If this gets questioned, because there is another possibility to see something that's beyond the personal. And when there begins to be a seeing beyond the personal, there's a remembering of who you are, which is love. If you're just totally identified with the personal, then you've totally forgotten love. You can taste it momentarily. But love is the essence of this universe. I know that sounds really far-fetched, that love is the essence. It's like, well, why would love be the essence? I don't really mean love as in a feeling. It's beyond that. But it's love. And it's also freedom from the dream, because on the human level, life can be difficult. Life is full of the light and the dark. It's full of positive pleasure and pain. Like all of us, if we live a long life, we're going to experience the death of our parents, the death of our family, not of our children more than likely, but the death of our siblings, the death of our friends, depending on how long your life is, if you're the first to go or the last to go. And we're going to come up against tragedies in life. We're going to have friends or family members that lie and cheat to us. Or most probably going to experience theft, as well as positive things. We're going to experience abundance and giving and sharing and beauty and love. But we're going to experience both sides of life. However, if you're totally identified with that person and you think that person is who you are and that you're limited to a life of, say, 80 years and you're limited to your experiences, then inevitably you're going to feel frustrated and slowly life is going to begin to wear you down. You're going to feel like life is too much because it was never meant to be that way. You were never meant to take the responsibility of life. Something happened in the human which doesn't happen in all other animals, is this identification with this thought-bound person. And this makes it feel like somebody is experiencing life. Whereas really, who you are beyond the person, this pure watching, this pure consciousness, and this emptiness and everythingness, it's not affected by anything. And when there is the shift back to that, then life comes and goes, and though the human gets conditioned and traumatized and enjoys things, there is this removal from it. You could also say an intimacy with it, because it stops you rejecting life, it stops you trying to hide from life on the human level. So there's intimacy with everything, but it's also this emptiness that means that things happen, but it's not happening to anyone. Now, this can sound really intensely crazy because it's so far out, but just look to your experience right now. You've got all these descriptions that you can describe yourself of. And what's your actual experience? Is that person watching, or is that one that you describe yourself to be being watched? Because if it's being watched, if there's something that's conscious of that person, then who is that that's conscious of that person? And this is where the freedom is. It's a remembering of home in this instant, in presence. It's becoming comfortable again with presence, with who you are. There is this stillness looking out, this emptiness that's not affected by anything that happens in this world, and is all things. And the fact that it's all things is the love side, this intimacy with all things, and that it's empty. This isn't just something I say, the Tibetans said it, the Buddhists say it, the Hindus say it. I think all religions say it. I think it's been spoken about in poetry, with artists. I think Shakespeare spoke about it. That there is something beyond the character. However, this is a warning. Do not use this message to try to fix the character. You fix the character like if you had a broken leg, you go and get a cast on your leg. You fix the character by reconditioning yourself to have more positive associations with life and to put yourself on the human level in more positive situations. And that's an ongoing process that I still do. I still recondition Lisa to... My big thing is boundaries. And I still work on the human level. And I think that that's important, that all of us that listen to this get used to that idea. There's no end to it. There's no end to reconditioning yourself. This isn't a goal about I'm going to get enlightened when I recondition myself, or I'm going to get a prize when I recondition myself. Reconditioning yourself is a process that's endless. And it's about becoming more and more balanced with your thoughts and your actions and your feelings. And this is a really simple process. It's not something really alien. Basically, you have to understand yourself. You have to understand your dark side and your light side, which all of us have. I know everyone likes to pretend they've only got light and they're innocent and they're victim to everybody else's badness, but all of us have dark and light sides. So on the human level, you have to understand that, including me. I have a dark side. I have a tendency, I can have a tendency towards negativity, and I try my best, not negativity, but towards more negative actions or selfish actions, and I try to recondition them in the best way possible. That's good for other people and good for myself. And all of you should be humble to do that. And ultimately, there's nobody doing anything and life is happening, and that's really beautiful. But on the human level, it feels like you are doing something. So it feels like you do have the possibility to recondition yourself and to learn and to grow and to change. So on the human level, it's not the human that takes on there is no doer and I'm not a doer. On the human level, it does feel like you're the doer. So it does feel like you make the dinner. But then there can be this recognition of the absolute level, that everything's flowing from the absolute and nothing's personal. But that's beyond the person, that's not intellectual. There's nothing intellectual in that. So it's seeing what's happening now. Who's looking? In this instant, who looks? Is it your thinking mind that looks, or is the thinking mind being looked at? Is it the feelings that look, or is it the feelings that are being looked at and experienced? Is it the body that looks, or is it the body that's being experienced? And then how far does that experience go? That empty looking, that silent, still looking that's here and present. How far does it go? Where does your looking stop? Where does your experiencing stop? And is your experiencing moving or still? Or is it in contradiction? It's movement and stillness. So does your looking stop here? Or does your experiencing stop in all things? So are all things inside or outside of your experience? In this very moment, who is experiencing life? This is love. Love is not found in reconditioning yourself. Reconditioning yourself is about pleasure and pain. Love is only found in this moment, in this instant. And it's love. We often find love, what I'm defining as love, in things we enjoy, because in those moments when we're enjoying something, we totally forget about ourselves. And then our mind compartmentalizes that and says, it's that thing that gave us love. That thing gave you pleasure and enjoyment. And what it also gave was a collapse of you. You began to stop seeing yourself as the experiencer, and then there was just experiencing happening. So this is what is really being talked about here. But there's to be a carefulness in talking about this, because taking that on board psychologically isn't beneficial to you. Psychologically, you need to be human. And that's really impossible for the person to hear, because the person wants to take everything on board for itself. And what you need to be on the human level is the best version of yourself. And what that means on the human level, to be the best version of yourself, is to be as authentically you as you can be. And what I mean by as authentically you is to understand yourself and to act out of the least amount of complexities. So, if somebody is wanting to go to dinner with you, and really insistent that you have to go to dinner, and you really feel like you don't want to, but you feel this guilt and all these other complicated feelings, you try to go back to the most simple feeling there is, and to be as most authentically self as you can be, and to try to be honest in that communication about that. But in order to do that, you have to understand your dark side and your light side first. You have to bring the unconscious into the conscious. And that is an endless process in a way. Like, you can always learn more about yourself, but most of the time when people come into this, they're totally unconscious of themselves on the human level. And this isn't about not feeling feelings. This is about embracing feelings. So embracing all the feelings, the dark and the light. And not pretending you're just good, that you're just victim, that you're just light. But being honest with all of it. That you too get jealous, that you too get angry, that you too feel guilty. Not all people feel guilt. People that are more on the narcissistic spectrum don't feel guilt. That's totally okay. You're not bad if you're narcissistic, although people need to be more cautious of you. And understanding as much as you can as to what you want. Because understanding what you want empowers you. And this isn't about always getting what you want, although the more you do this, more than likely the more you will get what you want. The more you're in rejection of life, more than likely the more you'll get less of what you want. But a lot of the time when I start working with people, people aren't even aware of what they want. So it's a process on the human level of getting to know yourself. And then on the absolute level, this seeing, who looks now? Who looks now? There's this infinite space that's undefinable, that's still, that's connected to this love, to everything you ever wanted,